How do you create messages that capture the attention of every student in the room? If you're like me, you've had the frustrating experience before where you've studied the biblical text and you're so excited about the insights and ideas and applications you have to share with your students, and then you get 10 minutes into your message and a quarter of the kids are paying attention, but the rest of them are tuning out. They're looking at their phones, guys are checking out girls instead of reading their Bibles. And it's frustrating because you've spent so much time studying and you're so excited about these insights and they're not even paying attention. What can you do about this? How do you create messages that capture the attention, not just of the kids who always pay attention? We always have these good kids who just always are tuned in, and that's great. But how do we capture the attention of every student in the room? In this video, I want to share with you what I've learned about how to do that effectively. And the key to all of this is understanding learning styles. Now, this is something I picked up from a number of different resources, but especially helpful is Marlene Lefebvre's work. In her book called Learning Styles, she categorizes 4 different types of learning styles and then gives you practical ways to teach to all these learning styles. And so I highly recommend her book, and I'm just going to go through it, and I'm using her categories, but I'm actually giving them different names because I think it's a little more clear and self-explanatory to use different labels for these. So you have the talkers, the scholars, the doers, and the leaders. So talkers, it's pretty self-explanatory. These are the students who learn best by discussion, by talking, by verbally processing what they're thinking about and kind of pushing against the bounds of their current knowledge. So you want to give time and space to get the talkers talking and give them space to discuss the ideas you're learning about. Next are the scholars. These are what most people think of as the traditional smart kids. These are the students who can thrive well off of pure lecture. They like to learn new things. They like insight. So those are the scholars. Next are the doers. These are the students who learn best by getting their hands and senses involved in the learning process. Think of the kid who doesn't want to sit and listen to a lecture, but if you want them to understand electronics, they would do really well with sitting there for 10 minutes, taking a remote apart, looking at all the pieces and putting it back together. Someone who learns through action and experimentation. And then finally, the leaders are the kids who are usually more charismatic than natural leaders in the room. And these are the ones who don't want to just learn stuff. They want to do something with it. They want to go out into the world and make a difference for good in the world. They want to bring it outside the 4 walls. And so you have to give them some kind of concrete, real-world application and put the truth into practice out there, the leaders. One of the things that's important for us to understand is what is your learning style? What is your dominant learning style? Even as I describe those just in basic senses, you may have an idea of which of those you are. And if you're not sure, there's a couple questions you can ask yourself. One of those being, what was your favorite teacher like? Or your favorite preacher like? We tend to learn best from those teachers, preachers, youth leaders who teach in line with our learning style. So think for a minute about who your favorite teacher, or preacher, or youth pastor was and what their learning style might have been. Did they focus a lot on discussion? Did they just lecture a lot and give you lots of new insights? Did they do a lot of interactive activities or object lessons? Or did they really focus heavily on application and getting involved in the community and affecting the world in some way? What did you love about your favorite teacher? That might give you insight about what your dominant learning style is. Now, here's the key insight that this whole study on learning styles gives us, is that you have a dominant learning style. Now, that's great for how you learn, but your strengths as a learner reveal your weaknesses as a teacher. Because all of us will tend to teach in line with how we learn best. But here's the problem with that. If you teach the way you learn best, you're gonna miss more than half your kids. Let me say it again. If you teach the way you learn best in line with your learning style, you're going to miss out on all the other learning styles and you're going to miss more than half the kids in the room. So here's what this teaches us. If you want to teach in such a way that you capture the attention of every student in the room, if you teach to all of them, then you have to teach to every learning style in the room. So how do you do that? Well, you pay attention to those learning styles and you walk through them. So you need to create time in every message you teach for discussion, to get the talkers talking. You need to create space and time for the teaching time and revealing insight and lecture and giving new information for the scholars to get them involved. You need to have some kind of interactive activity, some kind of object lesson, something that lets people get their hands on the truth, to get the doers involved. And you need to have a concrete application that goes outside the four walls of the building you're meeting in that really affects the world for good, to get the leaders involved. You need to make sure each of those are in every message you teach. And if you're not convinced this is true, just think for a moment about not your favorite teacher, but maybe your least favorite teacher or preacher or pastor. Now, I'm not talking about someone you didn't like because they were mean to you. That's a different question. But think for a minute about a teacher or a pastor or a leader who taught in such a way that you just never connected. They were a great person and you liked them as a person, but you didn't connect with them as a teacher. You felt like you didn't learn much from them. I would be willing to bet that what was going on is that teacher or pastor was preaching in a way that they learned best. They were teaching in line with their learning style and not yours. Can I just say, don't be that teacher for your kids. If you want to reach all of your kids and capture all of their attention, you have to teach to every learning style in the room. Now, if you want practical help on how to do that and how to create messages like that, over the years and drawing on resources from Marlene Lefebvre and other books on teaching and communication, and through my own trial and error and experimentation, I've put together a go-to outline I use almost every time I teach. And what I love about this is it ensures, if you follow it, that you work your way through this process and you'll teach to every learning style. And so if you'd like a copy of that, it's available for free on my website. Just go to my website and you can download it there. And it also has an explanation of each of the parts, and it walks you through how to teach in such a way that you teach to every learning style. Now, you don't have to use that, but you do want to teach in such a way that you teach to every student in the room. And you know, my heart is not just that you capture their attention. Even more than that, I want you to capture their hearts. But capturing their hearts begins by capturing their attention. You're never going to get to the heart if you don't get their attention in the first place. And how do you do that? You got to teach to every learning style. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. My name is Luke Hyrat. My desire is to help you create messages that change lives for good. If this content was helpful for you, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. For more free resources, go to my site, makeyourmessagegreat.com. There you can also download my go-to outline that helps you teach every learning style in the room with the goal of life transformation. I believe with God's help, you can instruct minds, equip bodies, and inspire hearts to live the Jesus way of life.